One.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Jan. I'm a member at Mililani Honganji, but I'm also helping here as an interim minister, helping as we are between ministers right now. Anyway, this morning I thought I'd share with you. I grew up in a Buddhist family, and I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it's really hard being Buddhist, isn't it, when you're a kid? Yeah, you know. For most of us, I think we were at that point in our lives when I started going to temple. I was probably in the first or second grade, okay? And interestingly, our family did not attend temple, but the children all went to temple. And they had this station wagon that came to pick us all up, brought us to temple, and brought us all back home. But, we just went. It was not an issue of choice. We just went. And I think even today, many of the young people who are in the temple, you go because it is an expectation in your family that all kids, if it's Sunday, you're either gonna go to temple, or if you stay home, you're doing chores. That's the trade-off, okay? But you know what? It is not easy being Buddhist in a very Christian world. And I say that clearly because we are in a Christian world and we don't realize how much of it influences every aspect of our life. And so it's really tough to be Buddhist. So I thought one of the things is the reality is, well, who do you talk to about your religion? Who do you really talk to? There are not too many people that you can say, I'm really having a hard time because I have to go to a Buddhist church and my parents expect me to, but my friends are all Christian. So who do you talk to? And you know what? Unfortunately, how do you talk to a Buddhist minister about coming to a Buddhist temple? How do you think they're going to feel, right? Okay, they're going to say, oh no, but you really should, okay? But that's one of the realities of life. And sometimes in life, you don't have a choice. You do it because it's an expectation. But what I want to say, one of the first things about how to deal with being Buddhist in a very un-Buddhist world is, number one, the fact is, if you don't have a choice, do it. Do it anyway and make it a choice. Saying, okay, this is not what I really wanted to do, but you know what? Now that I'm doing it, I choose to do it. Be firm and just choose to do it, okay? And if you have a difficult time talking about it, because friends might say, well, what do Buddhists really believe in? That's one of the first things. And these will come from very devout friends, good friends, but who are very devout Christians. And you got to understand, their purpose is to convert other people. They have to do that. They can't help themselves. But you got to think of it this way. They're doing it for your well-being. From their point of view, they think that this is really important for you and they want to save you. And you know what? At that point, number two, you see, you know what? Thank you. I know you care about me. And it's going to sound real hokey, but you say, thank you, and at this point you say, you know what? Not at this time, not right now, okay? But thank you. Because understand, don't dismiss them. Because you dismiss them, you're negating their faith. Okay, and that's one of the difficult things. The other thing is, how do you try to find out about your religion? I mean, like, what does your religion say that you're supposed to do? How are you supposed to do things? Simple things like, well, you know what Christians do, right? They go to church on Sunday. Well, guess what? Buddhists go to church on Sundays, and guess where Buddhists got that? From the Christians, because in Hawaii, a lot of the things that we do in the Buddhist temple were learned through the Christian faith. And so we've started to adopt things that worked for us. Even things like the pews, that's a very Christian thing. The pulpit is a very Christian thing. So even inside the temple, there are very non-Buddhist kinds of symbols. But we learn to live with them. We learn to just accept it and say, these are the forms. That is not the substance of our tradition. Basically, the whole point, I think, for if you are anywhere from 15 and under, just two things to be Buddhist. To be Buddhist is to be totally grateful. To be Buddhist is also to be totally humble. Now, that's a hard one, I think you folks have learned from very young how to be grateful. You learned. You always say thank you. We taught you that from the get-go. But we never taught you really how to be humble, because that's not something that is a lesson, but it is something that you will see, observe. You will watch other people. And sometimes you'll see people being very arrogant, and we get very annoyed and we get very upset and we feel uncomfortable with it. And then you'll see other people that are very humble just by their nature. Okay? And you'll see it in their behavior, which is not to take credit for everything, not to feel that they're the most important thing. How humility is to be understanding that you are one in a larger network of humanity. That is what humility starts with. To understand that your life is really the result of so many other people. And then you begin to realize, you know what? You're not the center of the universe. You make yourself the center, but you are not the center. Okay? So, in terms of how tough it is to be Buddhist, it is. We understand it. So the practice would be, sometimes it's like saying the word help. So being able to say thank you helps you to be grateful. Being humble helps you to be also grateful. Okay, so those are the two things. So number one, I said, what did I say?
Be grateful?
No, about how hard it is to be Buddhist. Oh, to make it a choice, that even if you don't want to, as you're doing it, you say, you know what, I choose to do this. The second thing was, oh shucks, I forget. Anyway, 3 and 4 was to be grateful and to be humble. If you can remember number 2, we will come back to us.
Do it anyway.
Yeah, do it anyway, okay? All right. And you know what? One of the things is it gets hard to talk to people about your religion. That's not something that we commonly do in our lives. Most of us keep it very private. Interestingly, especially people of Buddhist faith, where we do not go out publicly and proclaim our Buddhistness, and we don't advertise our faith. And it's one of the ways that we have been able to coexist in this world. But that has been the nature of Buddhism throughout history, throughout the world. And it has been that Buddhism was always able to assimilate in the mainstream culture. And part of it was not by standing out or trying to conquer another faith or try to disrespect another faith, but it was to appreciate and respect another faith and to live within the conditions of the place and of the time. So I forget what my point was, but never mind. Okay, but I know. So it's to be able to, who do you talk to? One is form a relationship with your minister. Form a relationship. If they come up to you and you feel uncomfortable, let it go for a while. But over time, learn to find out who they are, what they like, interact with them, talk to them, and you can start it. And if they can start it, but if nobody starts it, it never gets done. So try talking to your minister and saying, hi, how is it to be a minister? What is it like? Okay? And maybe one day we can talk about, because maybe some of you might consider being a minister. Let's talk about that another time. Thanks. Okay, bye-bye.